Hello, and welcome to Mar Talk Audio, where random topics of discussion are brought up erratically. Today we have a review of the 2002 Disney animated film Treasure Planet. Directed by Robert Clements and John Musker, Treasure Planet was heralded for its use of CGI in conjunction with traditional animation styles to display the dynamic, futuristic, outer space adventure. Released alongside the ever-popular Lilo and Stitch, Treasure Planet tends to be grouped in with its siblings in the world of Disney animation at the time. In the group that was a single step above the many famously crappy directed VHS and DVD releases that Disney was churning out at the time. Now, the movie is supposed to be based on Robert Louis Stevenson's novel Treasure Island, but between the novel and this movie, the similarities pretty much only go skin deep through names, little references all over, and the plot. Now, in the novel, Jim Hawkins is a totally boring character who lives to be a narrator or something and might as well be called The Adventures of John Silver, that guy who tagged along named Jim. But in the movie, our hero and protagonist Jim Hawkins is played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He's some incredibly genius punk kid with an attitude problem attributed to his growing up without a father figure. He wants to make something of himself and, as they say in the film, chart his own course. We've also got a totally loaded astronomer dog alien thing who funds the expedition to Treasure Island named Dr. Doppler. Get it? Doppler? Physicist? Okay, oh, shut up. Well, he's played by David Hyde Pierce. Then there's the antagonist, Mr. John Silver, Mr. Cyborg himself, played by Brian Murray, who goes from bad guy to good guy to bad guy to good guy as he destroys Jim's home, befriends Jim, then betrays Jim, then saves Jim. He also plays the role of some alien father figure type thing. As with any good remake of anything, Treasure Planet ups the ante from the original novel. I mean, seriously, we've gone from island to planet. But enough about the book, here we just want the movie. We're introduced to this legend about a great pirate called Nathaniel Flint, who has somehow sacked the loot from all over the universe and instead of spending it, stashed it all on Treasure Planet. So we've got Jim Hawkins, who was fascinated with the Treasure Planet as a child, but becomes a delinquent who wastes his time solar surfing. A map falls into his hand, which is so sought after that pirates destroy his home over it, and upon discovering that it's the map to the legendary Treasure Planet, he joins Dr. Doppler on an expedition to find the treasure. During the journey, Jim meets John Silver, a cook resembling the much-feared Cyborg. But they befriend each other, and they form a father-son relationship along the way. Aww. Soon after, they land at the mysterious Treasure Planet as mutiny and battles break out, and I'll leave it to you to see their perilous journey that follows. So let's go into why this movie is totally worth 95 minutes of your life. The story really does exemplify what a great adventure should be. It sends the confident and inspirational message about having a bright future, and it's not just another adaptation of the novel. The plot carefully builds as it shifts from the journey to Treasure Planet and the events on the planet itself, and has plenty of contrast between the hooray moments and the oh no moments to keep interest and maintain the suspense. Totally keeps you on the edge of your seat. It's very action-packed. Seriously, Jim flies around on a solar-powered, jet-propelled windsurfer over lava. Come on, space pirates and solar-powered jet-propelled airships? Big head. There's also how the cinematography uses very strategic methods to add to that suspense, like those sudden pauses that just makes you guys slowly lean forward. Then there's the music. Mr. James Newton Howard, may I bow to your feet as you autograph my copy of your film score? First and foremost, there's the main theme for the film. It fully embodies the I'm on an adventure feel and effectively uses the full orchestra to show just how amazingly grand it really is. Then there's how the music incorporates mandolins, tin whistles, fifes, fiddlings, reels, and jigs with the rock guitar space theme all over the place, which totally makes the idea that we have these utterly anachronistic ships flying around in outer space feel like it makes sense. Although Disney heavily marketed the fact that these two pop songs showed up in the film, they really were incorporated into the movie, instead of simply being jabbed in somewhere for marketing. The characters just show so much emotion throughout the whole movie. You see the character development in film as he goes from unruly teenager with no direction or outlet in life like so many teenagers nowadays, to this tall-standing individual who sees a bright and clear future ahead of him. He is introduced with sunken eyes, slouching, dressed messily, and is generally just a total pain. But then you see his growth as a character both in his appearance and his actions. Very inspirational. But then this brings us to the tidbits that held this film back. There's little to no depth for any character besides Jim and Silver. Now, normally this would be okay to some extent. A movie's supposed to focus on its main folks, and everyone else is only supposed to support them. But here they go, introducing supporting characters dynamically and letting their personality shine. And then they essentially just disappear and we're all left hanging. Like Captain Amelia, she just flips as she gets introduced, has a very strong personality, and is a wonderfully smooth talker for all of about 50 seconds. Then she just shows up occasionally, says a sentence or two, and really gets mostly ignored for the rest of the movie. The first mate's death is supposed to be pretty traumatic and all, but do we really care? He was a talking rock thing that only repeated whatever the captain has ordered. His only purpose, apparently, was to make this one bad guy seem more evil, but even then, that one bad guy comes and goes without much importance or care, too. There's Ben, some sort of crazed robot. He could have been replaced by a sheet of paper with text scribbled on it, and it would have made the movie 100 times better. He's a comic relief character for a film that really did not need one. It wasn't like everyone else was as serious as Batman or anything. In fact, Ben just killed the mood over and over with his utterly stupid jokes and actions. and he proceeded to piss me off every time I saw him. I mean, let's look at the trailer. It's completely missed the point of the movie, dumbed down everything, and poured its focus into Ben, all because he's played by Martin Short, and then it was aimed at far too young of an audience. I mean, seriously, 3-year-olds will love those gruesome Disney deaths. So if you're some sort of mature adult or a devout realist, then you'd probably want to return to your Sundance-esque art films and your physics books respectively. But if you're an adolescent or a younger or older adult willing to let your imagination out long enough to enjoy a really good adventure, then this movie's for you. Go ahead, suspend your disbelief for a little while, watch Treasure Planet, and let your spirit soar.